Men develop children to leave. Go ahead and play this clip.
And women develop children to cleave, but men develop children to lead. I was always thinking about where they need to be at 25 and 35. You know, me and my daughter just went out to dinner Monday night talking about how to honor a man. You know, she's 15 years old because she just went through a rites of passage. So there's only adult conversation she has now with me. You know, that's my job as the patriarch of my family, is to train up everybody that's in my household.
All right, there we go. Men develop children to leave. I'm gonna go ahead and start with you, B man. I see you nodding your head. What are your thoughts, sir?
Yeah, I agree 100%. You know, men are supposed to be leaders of their household, leaders of their family, leaders of their children. You know, it is a man's job to prepare your child for life. As they get through school, prepare them to get to college, prepare them for what is outside of your household. And you have to put all the things inside of them that makes them a active and successful human out in this world. So you have to be prepared to get out of the house. Granted, we were just talking about daughters and whatnot. For me, my daughter can always stay in my house until she's married. I'm fine with that. I don't have a problem with that because she's completely covered. But for the sons, especially, you're definitely preparing them for life. You're preparing them for forces that may be against them. You're preparing them for the law, police. You're preparing them for racism. You're preparing them for dealing with workplace stuff, college stuff, and all that type of stuff. So you're preparing them to leave so they can be successful and fly away from the nest.
B Madden. So I know you said that you'll hold on to your daughter. Would you put your son out?
Oh, for sure. And here's the thing: it's not a kicking the butt out of the house. It's not that deal. It's you're preparing him for it. It's not a surprise. He understands what time it is. It's time for you to go out there and handle your business. It's time for you to go out there to go to college, get an education. You gotta go do that. Or if we've got other businesses going, other investments going, you working on that. But it's something that is designed. It's something that's been talked about. It's something that's been planned. It's not you 18, get the hell out of my house. It ain't that kind of deal.
Okay. Shannon Rawls, men develop children to leave. I did see you kind of was questioning whether you would kick your son out.
At first, when I heard B Mac, I was like, come on, B Mac, don't do me like that. Yeah, we got to stop kicking our kids out. That's what you 18 now, boy. I don't go out there. When I was out there, it was hard for me. I had to figure it out.
Yeah.
Stop making your kids figure it out. But B Mac, he cleaned it. He was like, no. My sons are gonna learn how to fly. Is what I got from B Mac. What he said. I'm gonna teach them how to fly and use those wings. Now, when he crashes at the bottom of the tree, I'm gonna go down there and pick him up. I'm gonna drag his ass back up to the nest and then say, try again. Mm-hmm. That's okay. I'm with that. What historically and a lot of times black men to their black sons, get out there and fly. Figure it out. Call me later. And if shit happens, if you get somebody pregnant, I'll send you $400 for an abortion. But that's it. And that's how we've been doing, and it hasn't worked out for us. We need to prepare our children for life, and that does not include kicking them out into the world and struggling like they need to, because they just need to figure it out like you and your grandfather did. It was G. Michael Hoff that said, "Hard times create strong men create weak time. No, strong men create good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times." Right now, we're on the third phase of that. Good times create weak men. We have a lot of weak men because times are good. It ain't like we're going through the civil rights movement. Water hoses ain't getting blown. You know what I'm saying? We're not going through segregation. We're not in going through slavery. So right now, times are good for a lot of people, but it's creating a whole lot of weak men. And as a result of that, we're going to have a lot of weak times that's coming. That we can see it. We're looking down the road and we see a whole lot of we see a whole lot of hard times coming because a lot of these men are weak. And the reason why some of these men are weak is, one, because the fathers aren't there, as what Humble Dad alluded to earlier. The fathers just aren't there, or the fathers that are there are weak fathers. So one of the strongest things you can do as a dad is, yes, develop your children to leave, but don't necessarily kick him out the nest. Make sure that he knows how to fly. Prepare them as a child. You know what I'm saying? So they'll be able to fly the way you know that they need to fly, even when they can't see it.
I agree with you, Shan, but kind of on the fence a little bit about what you said, only because I think if somebody's watching this, they got to understand that you have to start that way from the beginning. There may be somebody that may be watching right now that didn't do it from the beginning, so it becomes situational. You got to kind of assess it as you get closer to that date. If you have somebody that, because I mean, but you can start young and they can have a lazy mentality. You hope they wouldn't have it, but they can feel privileged, and when they graduate high school, they just have no like ambition. They don't want to do anything. They don't have a plan, or they're like refusing to do anything. So then what? I think once it gets to that point, it becomes situational. And to me, there's always a place for you to come. But I'm almost along the lines of like, it gets to that time, you have a plan. We're about to figure out some form of a plan. And I'm going to get you to this space, maybe set you up for 3 months, but then you're going to have to learn because somehow you missed it through all these years about what I've been teaching you, or maybe I started late, but you're going to have to try to figure something out because you sitting here not having no job, not doing anything. That's not going to fly with me either. You're just sitting there and you're just not doing a damn thing. So I'm going to push you out. I'm not going to say you can't never come. I'm not going to tell them that, right? It's just going to be like, I'm going to monitor them, but I want them to be on their own so they can get some type of development away from me because maybe the format that I had put in place didn't work. So we're going to try something else, I just can't keep them there and they're not doing anything.
No, I got you. And you disagreed with me 8 months ago when we had this
conversation. Yeah, it wasn't 8 months ago, but it definitely was. I think it was this year, Shan.
Was it? I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I
got you. And JR is because you're in the thick of it right now. You got son. So I am speaking to people that have younger children. Grow up the young children so they won't depart. How about that? You know the scripture. You know, make sure that the kids at the youngest age you develop. Now, unfortunately, a lot of fathers fucked up early on, and now they're doing damage control. And they're saying, oh, you know, I got this shiftless kid that don't want to do nothing. He's lazy. He's on Xbox all day long. He ain't really motivated to do nothing. I would look at the father and say, well, what was he doing when he was 5? Where were you at when he was 8? What did you put on him when he was 10? So now that he's 16 and he's lazy, you want me to say, well, you know, you can't stay here now? No, I'm going to ask the dad, well, you now have to work twice as hard to make up for what you didn't do when he was 10 years old. Fathers, you have to now work twice as hard because you didn't work as hard as you should have 10 years ago. That's all I have to say to those guys that say, man, I get it. It's situational, but you got to look at the entire situation. How, you know, and if you got that kind of situation, if you really care about a good outcome for your sons particularly, then you have to do what's necessary to make sure they work. And sometimes it's you doing it with them. So, you know, if you say, man, you know what, you need to go out here and pick up a trade. Let's say I want you to go to a vocational school and learn how to plumb, but I'm gonna take the class with you. You may not want to take the class with him, but if you didn't put the work in when he was younger to go do that kind of stuff or to motivate him to do that on his own when he gets 18 or so, now you got to go to class too, and you got to get a certification. And now it's a father-son general contractor in the house where you never planned on doing that, but because you did it with your son is doing something that he wouldn't do on his own. So unfortunately for the fathers that's dealing with lazy sons, really lazy older sons, 16 to 21. Let's give it that 5 year. Is that 5 years? Let's give it that 5 year window. 16 to 21-year-old lazy sons. You got to go outside and mow the lawn with them. You got to go outside and do the things that you know that he needs to do. You got to go get the certification. You got to go to the college classes. You got to enroll in the same course with him to show him how it's done, because the motivation wasn't put in him or the battery wasn't put in his back at a younger age to do it on his own. That's all I'm saying.
You're basically saying if you didn't work early, you got to work late.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's life. That's life.
And again, it's situational. You have to know your kids. You have to know their personality. You got to know what inspires them, what they love, what moves them, what gets them excited, you know, what motivates them. You got to know that shit. If you don't know that shit, then you're slacking. You're slacking significantly as a father. You need to know what your kid likes, what motivates them, what gets them excited, what gets them going, and what their interests are. I mean, point blank, period. And if you got, like Shannon said, you got to work with them side by side. That's one thing. But I mean, the other question is, what example were you showing them before?
Yep.
What example were you showing them for you to have to sit there and get a plumbing license next to him and that kind of stuff? What kind of hard work are you doing in your life that's already inspiring them? I mean, how it should be is that, you know, your son should look at you like you're some type of superhero growing up, that he want to be just like you. You know, it should be some level of that going on.